Our reaction is that the ruling was on an extremely tenuous technicality. And in terms of our law, the Constitutional Court must not decide important matters on mere technicalities. It is the Constitutional Court itself that invited me at my application for direct access to actually appear before it. In other words, they gave a ruling that I must appear before the Constitutional Court, only to tell us when we were at the Constitutional Court that they did not have jurisdiction to hear us. We view this as a way of just avoiding work, as a way of delaying this case. What that means is that we are now going to go to the High Court to seek the nullification of the delimitation report. Certainly this delimitation report is null and void and will lead to unfree and unfair election, or at the very least it will lead to a disputed election, and Zimbabwe does not need that. We are not going to give up as the MDC on this point, because this is wrong and it must be rectified. The delimitation report does not take into account population census. In terms of our constitution, the delimitation must follow a population census. Unfortunately, Zimbabwe had a population census last year, but the results of the census are not yet out. And the other thing is that the law says the constituencies must have more or less the same number of registered voters, but there can be variance of 20%. In 119 out of 210 constituencies, ZEC violated this right and this obligation. And we had variations like 30%, 40%, and the outrageous one is 66% in 119 constituencies. And in 598 wards, that provision again was violated. So we cannot accept that, because this will give false results for Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is under the microscope from other countries, and we cannot afford an election of this caliber. Well, we are going to be arguing on the merits. What we are going to do is we are going to file our application, going to ask the judges to hear it on an urgent basis, so that if the president has to proclaim, he will have to proclaim the election dates after the matter has been heard. But this is a fundamentally important issue for Zimbabwe. It tests our constitutionalism, it tests our adherence to our own laws. Here is an instance where the laws have been violated. And yesterday, the justices of the Constitutional Court were almost clear that the violations had taken place. And then they went technical, that you shouldn't have said, once the violations have taken place, you should have said that your political rights are affected. But political rights are affected if there is an unfree and unfair process in the election. And I think there is an unfree and unfair process in this election. And it's coming from this allegation is coming from very, very stupid people. And they are raising this just as a way of spiting me. This is not the first time that I have taken the government to court. In 1997, at the age of 27, I took this government to court over the constitutionality of the Political Parties Finances Act. In 1995, at the age of 25, I again took this government to court over the constitutionality of the Electoral Act. This is not the first time that I have challenged the things which are certainly unfair. So I do not have kind words for people who are saying that these people are people who are doing nothing about such a gross violation. I am standing with the MDC trying to do something about it. We do not care what those people say. We care about what is in the best interest of our country. It is not in the best interest of Zimbabwe that we go to an election which is patently unfree and unfair. But coming to the other political parties, there is no political party that is prepared for election at this point in time. Most of those political parties do not even have candidates that they have given to the people of Zimbabwe. So they cannot say that they are prepared. But one of the parties was the CCC, which brought an amicus yesterday, somebody to try to argue the case. And their argument was that they wanted a postponement of this election by 1 month. Now, we have not suggested any period of the postponement in our application, but they are the ones who are saying we are afraid and are unprepared, but they want a postponement by 1 month. Certainly not. We have said that we are prepared for an election, and the aim of the MDC is to take over governmental power through democratic, constitutional, and legal means. That is why we want an election that is undoubted. We want an election that is not impugnable. So if ZEC were to prepare the delimitation report rectified tomorrow, so be it. We have not sought a postponement in the Constitutional Court. All we have said is that the president must only proclaim dates after ZEC has redone the delimitation. There are two competing rights here, Madam, if I may say. There is the right to free and fair election, and then there is a right to an election timetable. Now, if those rights conflict, the right to free and fair election prevails. Zimbabwe needs free and fair elections, and that's what the MDC is fighting about.